if all three of these titles are part of a trilogy of one meta series, what do you think the theme of that series is?
Do we low-key get like second seasons that aren't called second seasons of other things? Like a Moon Knight or a Miss Marvel or something like that, right? Where it's not called Moon Knight Season 2, maybe it's called Midnight Suns, or maybe it's called whatever, right? But like we get that character back. Welcome back to the Break Room. The upcoming White Vision series is being touted as the end of a trilogy.
Ooh.
Also, no one's touting it as the White Vision series. We're going to talk more about what that show's going to be called in a little bit. We're going to get into what that could mean, what James Spader's Ultron appearing in it, all of that kind of information, what that's going to mean in today's Monday Headlines Breakroom episode. Hit that beautiful graphic. There it is. Dateline, August 26, 2024.
Dewey defeats Truman.
Yeah, that's right. Still, I'm Zach Huddleston. Thrilled to be on the panel today with an illustrious group here. I've got Gina Ippolito is here.
Hi, everybody.
And Erik Voss is here.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. We've got a nice broad spectrum of updates and headlines today. We've got DC stuff, we've got Marvel stuff, we've got Sega Extended Universe stuff. Sweet, Sonic, that's what we're calling that?
Yeah. I was trying to think if there was like a fun, is like the SEU, the SECU. I thought there was maybe something funnier there, and now this is all going on for 2
I'm surprised they haven't come out with a name for it, because it is a broad, was there a Knuckles show?
Yeah, the Knuckles show.
On Paramount Plus?
Yeah. They sometimes do like little crossovery things too between their movies.
The Sega Saga? The
Sega Saga, there it is. Are you listening?
Take it, it's yours.
No, don't.
Sega
Monetize it.
No,
Sega.
I have to give it to the world.
Saga. Let's start with DC. We got our first look at Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen. Loved him in Booksmart. Look at that. That's the most Jimmy Olsen pose too, isn't it?
Yeah, he's so good. He's in Licorice Pizza too, right?
Yes.
Such a fun role in
That picture makes him look like a Star Wars pilot who's about to be sucked into a ship and spit out. Like he's like, hey, have a good trip, everyone. It's like
He's a total scene stealer. That guy is hilarious when he shows up in like a supporting role. He also looks. Who's the guy? Fred. Who was in the first season of White Lotus?
Armisen, Rogers.
Fred Heikinger?
Yeah.
The guy who plays Chameleon.
Hetchinger, Heikinger.
Yes, and Chameleon and Craven. They're two actors who could be 60. But they will always look 19. You know what I mean? Because they're like, whatever their frame and their face, they're going to keep playing high schoolers or college kids for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, if you told me that dude was 52, I would be like, okay. And if you told me he was like 23, I'd be like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was one of the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz. He just aged really well. Do we know what kind of universe the Superman film will be set in? Is it like the way Fantastic Four is in an alternate universe, retro-futurist New York? Is Metropolis in this movie like in any kind of like distant past?
Yeah.
I think it's still largely unknown. I think we're gonna have to see how it's all gonna factor in together. It's very interesting to see like if they're gonna reference anything set up with Snyder and those movies.
Yeah.
I think you need to pull up the set photos right now. Break some laws.
Well, they know what's the guy's name in that one photo that's with Superman? The guy with the leather jumpsuit,
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific. I mean, it's a world in which people dress like that. So, I mean, that is...
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember if we saw any cars. Like the Daily Planet storefront or whatever has like the spinning golden globe that's like a lantern.
Yeah.
That looks so cool. But like the skyline of the city behind Superman and the pull up by your bootstraps photo looks kind of futury.
Yeah.
I want it to look like, remember those Adventures of Superman animated series? I want it to look a little retro futuristic.
Stylized a little bit.
I admit I like that the best too when it's not like clearly set in any time period and it has elements of like a sort of noir-y past and the future, like the Batman the Animated Series or the Superman animated series. They both like men wearing big blocky suits, but then you're like, oh, well, clearly there's technology that's not from 1945.
Yeah, they look a bit like propaganda posters from that time period. Like, what do they call the Art Deco period, I think.
Yeah.
Ooh, July 2025. What a month.
What a month!
What a month
get
we're getting.
ready.
Fantastic Four and Superman, same month, baby.
And Jurassic Park
Oh, wow.
7, right?
Do
Or
we
Jurassic
think
World
any
4.
of that's going to be bumped? Do we think like they're going to
Well,
say
I mean,
like, wow, this
Super-
is too
Fantastic Four, maybe.
Superman's
Yeah.
wrapped. Fantastic Four, they're still filming, and it's like,
They
damn,
just started filming.
yeah, how are they getting that out on time?
Yeah.
So that would be, maybe especially if Blade doesn't happen and they have a November spot open, maybe they bump it back. But
Oh,
Maybe.
hey,
that-
fingers crossed. It's a wealth of riches next summer.
Yes.
You know. When do we think we might get a first trailer for Superman?
Ooh, I bet pretty soon.
Super Bowl
I bet
2025.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
25. And then maybe CinemaCon next year in April, they have like a first look at it
Yeah,
in
so you think
Vegas.
teaser during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you don't need much.
Yeah.
You don't need much. That's the kind of thing that you could just put up the logo and the release date on screen with some music, with some of the music for it, then maybe just a shot of the cape flapping or something
Yeah.
like that. I want more though. Give us the full trailer.
Well, and don't you think, to just remind the audience who has seen a Superman movie, a specific Superman in the not too distant past, they will give us something to be like, this ain't your daddy's Superman. You know what I mean? There will be
a Daddy Superman.
or
I
it
think that's
is,
the
and
idea.
it's not the sepia tone, dark,
Yeah,
mean.
It ain't your
Yeah.
angry cousin
Yes,
Superman.
and so I don't doubt if like whatever we get, even if you're totally right, if it's just kind of like a shot and like Superman looking at the camera and saying one thing,
Yeah.
we will get a little bit of that gun humor, don't you think?
What if it's like Superman with a mustache though, and he's like, we're not afraid to put mustaches on our Superman.
Oh, just
and then
the
the next
full.
scene is him shaving.
And it just ends with the logo. Hooked on a beer.
Yeah, we're bringing it back. Let's go. Play the hits, you sons of bitches. Speaking of trailers and DC, we got a first trailer for the Christopher Reeve documentary, Super/Man, which makes more sense if you see the title printed. There it is.
There it
Yeah,
is.
not Superman, Super/Man. This is it's about his journey post paralysis.
Pre and post.
Pre and
Yeah.
post, yes. So a tearjerker, most likely.
Yeah, I literally just watched this trailer right before we got on, and whoo boy, that is get ready with the hankies.
Yes, but can you pull up the image again, Evan? The DC Studios logo there. This is technically the first DC Studios release. They did not produce this film. It was produced and then purchased by Warner Brothers, and they're putting that DC Studios logo on there, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
A guy who is his main or his most famous role is so closely associated with DC. Yeah.
I think it's great to kind of make this your, overture, your thematic overture to what the Gods and Monsters lineup that James Gunn has planned, because I think he wants to remind people of the legacy of this franchise and the sacrifice that Christopher Reeve made to like. I guess I don't know. His injury happened after he had played Superman a few times, but like I think even after his injury, like the contributions he continued to make after were still so important to so many. So I'm really excited to see this. It reminds me, just the trailer reminded me. Did you ever watch the Michael J. Fox documentary?
Yes.
Still?
Yeah, came out last year.
Like on
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah.
That is also a fascinating one to watch.
Yeah, there's people in the chat already saying that when they watched the trailer, they were tearing up. So it
Yeah,
definitely seems like
yeah.
it's gonna be
Because it's his
heavy watch.
kids and
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah, it was
and-
made with
and
the
his
participation of
co-stars
his
and-
family.
Yeah, everyone.
Do you think we were talking about this before? Do you think they're gonna reference how the Flash, like?
Yeah, they're gonna be
Brought
like,
his
it's so
likeness
rad.
back?
It was so great seeing my dad one last time in the Flash.
I mean, I think they famously did not like it, right?
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because they made this documentary without Warner Brothers' prior involvement. Warner Brothers bought the distribution rights, so it'll be interesting to see if any of that kind of gets reconciled live in the documentary. But I think it'll be a really emotional watch, and I'm very interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Limited theatrical run starting September 21st, just a couple weeks from now.
Wow, that's
And then probably on Max not too long after that,
sure,
I would
yeah.
assume, right? Yeah. The first trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is coming out bright and early tomorrow morning.
go.
Evan is so
baby.
excited. Evan is excited.
Cannot wait.
Yes.
This is the era of Sonic that I really grew up in, that spurred my love for the blue hedgehog. I'm so excited.
What era is that exactly?
Don't worry about it.
It's been a successful franchise. Also, like, low-key a fun franchise. Like, those movies are goofy. I don't think they've ascended the heights of popularity that the Mario movie did, obviously. Maybe fitting for a character that was never as popular as Mario. But James Marsden's great. Ben Schwartz is the voice. So we'll see what is revealed. They also keep sprinkling in new characters in every iteration of this film.
Yeah.
So we'll see who shows up.
Notably, Keanu Reeves will be voicing Shadow the Hedgehog, which will be a big thing this time around. They've been doing a lot of guerrilla marketing for the movie, projecting images of Sonic and Dr. Robotnik and Shadow all across the world. Do we have those? There we go.
They're just putting that up in places.
Yeah,
That's
so
fun.
it's Dallas and Tokyo, or Shibuya, I think, and then the Broad in LA, and the Will Turn in LA.
Make me assume weird things if I saw this on the street.
Yeah, I don't know that if I saw those images, I would immediately be like, oh, Sonic 3 trailer dropped one day.
I would be like, are we under attack?
Imagine the person in the building who's just like, there's too much red. They're like Kramer in his apartment. Kramer, what are you doing in there?
Oh, that should be It's him coming on the red. It's like they're projecting the Sonic image on my window.
I got eyes full of robot
Man,
pictures.
every time like one of these guerrilla marketing things does like the projection on buildings, I think about, was it the Aqua Team Hunger Force movie that they did that with like the weird
traffic
aliens
cam. Yes.
that were in that movie, and like it was like in New York City not that long after 9/11.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. and
people
on,
were like
the
reporting
traffic
like
cams, and they thought it was a terrorist attack. They thought like the whole city had been hacked.
Yeah. So, anyways, marketers out there, be careful. But I assume this was all fun.
Still talking about it.
But we'll be covering that trailer here on the Breakroom, and Jessica Clemens will be breaking it down on the new Rockstars channel. Look for both of those videos out tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll probably be streaming a little bit earlier, so keep an eye out on your notifications. Keep an eye out on the Twitch schedule for when we're going to go live to talk about the Sonic trailer.
Yeah.
So excited.
And that movie comes out December 20th of this year, right around the corner.
Evan, let me know if you want me to bring in my Sega Dreamcast with the Sonic version that was made in, I want to say,
Ooh.
1998.
Ooh, let's play some Sega Tennis.
Maybe. I mean, the last one that's got Shadow in it, we've got downloaded on the Xbox. I played it on stream. I'll play it again.
Okay. In a moment here, we're gonna talk about Ultron appearing in the Vision series. But first, we want to shout out one of our sponsors. You've heard us talk about them before. One Shot Energy. I've got a couple different bags of them here. The One Shot Focus Chews. One Shot Energy are a healthy and convenient energy boosting supplement candy for everybody. They make energy chews that have caffeine, focus chews that don't have caffeine, and voice drops, which we also have some of them around here. I really like those. Those are great if you've got to speak for a living. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you occasionally do a live streamed and YouTube panel news show. Maybe whatever. Maybe you're a singer. They're also great for that. They have all these like nice natural ingredients that are great for your throat and voice. Each energy chew has 75 milligrams of caffeine. How much is that? What's in a cup of coffee?
That's a good question.
A cup of coffee is like 60 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh, okay. So it's about a cup of coffee and a little chew. Maybe you don't feel like drinking a cup of coffee. Maybe you don't have one convenient.
It's 95 degrees outside. Who
That's
wants to drink
right.
coffee?
That's right. Cold brew takes like 2 days to make. a One Shot Energy Chew is immediate.
It doesn't make you cold.
That's right. Focus Chews, they help with concentration. That's these little guys right here. They have vitamins B, C, D, and E, and they've got prebiotic, fiber, immunity boosting things, all kinds of great stuff in here. Again, a nice little chew you can pop anytime. The voice drops are flavored with marshmallow, honey, and peppermint, and they're a game changer. Again, if you have to talk for a living. All One Shot Energy products are plant-based and naturally sweetened without fillers and bad chemicals. Get started with One Shot Energy today by going to oneshotenergy.com/new rockstars for 10% off your order. The little code's on the screen, and it'll be in this video's description.
Look, they're actually open, so that's how you know we actually.
Yeah, we use them.
You actually.
Look, I've popped a bunch of these voice drops. If it wouldn't be gross ASMR, I would be gurgling one right now.
One man's gross ASMR is another man's yes.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, we want to shout out NerdRiot.shop. We're all currently wearing products from NerdRiot.shop. And if you're watching close to upload time, there's a Labor Day sale going on right now. You don't even need a code, anything like that. If you buy a product at nerdriot.shop, you get another product 50% off.
That's a hell of a deal.
That is
good
great.
This,
No,
I got the
no
Choose
code
Your Fighter on
needed.
right now.
Yeah.
Now, is it just on part of the site, or is
It's
it
the whole site, Eric.
site-wide?
You could get New Mask, Same Task, and Deadpool Sketchy. Throw them together, and for less than the cost that they normally would be. Or, you know what? Here's another good thing. A couple of different strategies you could take. Buy one at your current size, and buy one at a bigger size that you can wear after Christmas.
For the holidays. I've got the crop top on for the ladies and people who want to look like Gambit when they're making beignets.
Or buy one for yourself and one for a friend. What a nice thing that would be if they just get like an unexpected gift shirt or
But
hoodie.
don't buy another one for your friend that will be their hermit crab bigger version to crawl into, because then they won't be your friend after Christmas.
That's right. Good call. Good call. Okay. Check out all these products at nerdriot.shop. We actually have a brand new Blade-inspired shirt dropping, I think today or tomorrow.
Ooh,
Go check that one out.
motherfuckers always trying to
Skate uphill. I pitched that as the title of the shirt. Uphill ice skater.
yeah.
I think they're going with Daywalker instead. But
Fair
that's
enough.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to our main topic of discussion today. Last Friday, it was announced that James Spader would be returning as Ultron for the Vision spin-off series, which is now apparently not called Vision Quest. Eric will go into more detail about that. You actually made a video about this that's live on your Rockstars right now.
Yeah, you can watch it right now. We cover a lot of ground with like the history of Ultron and where we last left off of the character known as White Vision, but also just and how Ultron could come back and what the show could look like. But specifically, the title of Vision Quest, it was initially announced as Vision Quest when it was a Jack Schaefer project, and then the trades, for whatever reason, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, have been holding off calling it Vision Quest.
Because we all know it as the 80s movie we know and love. Vision Quest.
When you Google it, that's what shows up.
Truly.
Matthew Modine.
Matthew Modine.
High school wrestling movie. It's a fun sports flick.
I
But
think it had a Madonna song in it.
and it's obviously at the tip of everybody's tongue. Everybody's watched that movie 100 times, right?
Modine's so hot right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're just joining the stream now, Zach set a challenge for all of you guys. Hit us up with like what you think this show might be called, should be called.
Yes.
Evan has his hand raised. He has
Yeah,
a
do you
pitch.
want to hear some suggestions that we got earlier?
Yeah, some chat pitches.
Wait,
yeah.
can I pitch Double Vision?
Ooh,
I like
double
that. That's
vision.
good.
That's a nice
Thank
pitch.
Eric,
you.
do you have one, Eric?
In the video, I pitched either Vision Wanda or I Am Vision. Like I Am Vision is a good name.
Both great.
Interesting. Okay. I am Iron Man 10 saying Vision's little Vision family.
Vision, wait. The whole thing is Vision's little Vision family.
I might have added an extra word.
Okay.
Latin Blues.
Vision?
Latin Blues saying How I Met Your Android.
Oh,
that's
okay.
GSU Eagle pitching a few, but two that I really like: 2020 Vision and Where's Vision.
Okay.
Rogue One. Nope, that's a question for later. Slim Shady pitched a few, but I like Adventures of the Robot Avenger.
Okay.
And yeah, that's. I'm sure more will come in as we.
Yeah.
Is 2020 Vision just like a Vision who has really just let himself go as he's sheltering in place and he's like, time has no meaning anymore?
Yeah. He's like, I can't get back into an exercise routine.
I watched Bo Burnham's Inside and that's all I watched.
Yeah. I've been baking a lot of sourdough.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a couple things here, just while we're talking about the title of the show, which it's great because like this had been announced. When was this kind of first hinted that this show was in
I
development?
think back in October of 2022. It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
A while ago, and then we didn't hear much about it. No updates, no casting or production or whatever for quite a while. So I'm excited that it seems like it's definitely going to happen, right? You said in the video it's probably shooting next year for release in 2026.
Yeah, I think the plan is 2026. It sounds like they're going to try to start shooting at 2025, early 2025. So that's why you're starting to hear some casting rumors now as like these deals are starting to come into place.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled that the show's going to happen. And you know, another thing in these kind of with James Spader's Ultron going to be in the series, which we'll talk about in a second, they kind of confirmed that this is the third in a trilogy of series, with WandaVision being the first, Agatha All Along, and then this being the concluding chapter.
I mean, that's pretty cool, actually. Like, I like cohesion, you know, like, you know, I feel like especially Marvel fans are always like, is this a standalone? And I like the fact that it could have been a standalone, but it sounds like it's gonna have a little cohesion there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that this kind of three-part story is going to end up being like the defining Marvel Disney Plus kind of franchise, right? Like with Loki being another big cog in that, but this will be the only one that has kind of 3 chapters to it.
3 different shows. And isn't it kind of interesting that you had WandaVision, which was mostly like a supernatural witchcraft show, but had this technology element of like this, the hex took the form of television, and then you had S.H.I.E.L.D. using this technology or it was S.W.O.R.D. rather, and then to follow the direction of Agatha feels like you're following the sorcery, the dark magic angle. With whatever this Vision show is, it sounds like it doesn't feel like it's building off of Agatha. It feels like it's building off of WandaVision.
It almost feels like they're following the magic with Agatha and the science with Vision, because he was like created in a lab, and like and the new white Vision was totally engineered and stuff like that. So I'm excited.
I love it, and I think it's a fun way, right? We're in this weird streaming age where like the old rules of television don't really apply.
What?
And like it's a fun way to get creative rather than being like WandaVision season 1, 2, and 3. Basically having 3 seasons of a show, but naming them different so it feels accessible. Even if you didn't watch WandaVision, you can watch Agatha all along, and hopefully you'll be fine, or at least like that's the optics of it. Same with the Vision show, but like they also know that like Marvel fans are gonna consume all of them, and like not even having it be called a season 2. Yeah, if Wanda doesn't show up at all in Agatha all along, that's okay. Your expectations are set accordingly, right? Yeah. But now, if she does, and this is my hot pitch for this, probably the least likely of all the things that have been pitched, and we know Marvel had a lot of fun with the titling of Agatha all along, constantly giving us different titles, and we thought they were just changing their mind, but then it turned out to be a fun bit. I would love it if they do that again for this, and maybe we hear Vision Wanda and Double Vision and all these other things. But then what if the show's called WandaVision season 2? And here's why this is a hot take. Because if they keep saying it's the Vision show, like maybe Elizabeth Olsen will show up or whatever, right? But then they wait in the last minute. They're like, oh, it's WandaVision season 2. And it's like, it's gonna be a 2-hander.
Yeah. And then the writers and actors are like, so you have to pay me for a season 2 of a show instead of a standalone.
Sure. Yeah. Get paid. Hey, I don't know. I'm not an accountant. Okay, I'm a fan.
We have our WJ arbitrator over here for Gina, who knows the real budgets.
I just love that. And you talked in your video about, we don't know if Wanda Maximoff might show up in Agatha all along, even in a flashback, do they even say her name in this series, right? Is she a MacGuffin? Is she a motivating factor or something like that? You kind of mentioned like that could have been what happened at Wundagore Mountain. Maybe she like disappears into the Witch's Road realm, and that's kind of like what they're searching for in this series. That would be fun if like we never see her, but she is like a presence in Agatha all along, and then we do the payoff, we see her again. The next time we see Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda might be in this Vision series.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I mean, it would build up anticipation, right? Like, and sort of make people not forget about her, but like lull them into a false sense of like, oh, that character's done, and then when she shows up, boom, baby.
I'll also say, and Evan has his hand up, but I'm going to deny that real quick. The other thing I will just say about this Vision series, which like Paul Bettany is a brilliant actor, I think like seeing him as this character has been fun throughout all of his Marvel appearances. You can't build a TV show solely around the White Vision character, a dry ass robot with no personality. So that's only to say, like, there must be more, right? Like, he is a grade A number 2. And I don't mean to poop. I mean, like,
no.
He can't, you know what I mean? Like, he can't be the hero.
I truly now hope it's just 10 episodes of the White Vision character just doing like a TLC style intro to
him just speaking about logic metaphors and stuff like that. Like,
sitting in a white room eating cottage cheese.
I mean, there's a reason Spock never got his own spinoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is not a personality type that you build a show around,
well,
right?
For some people it is, Zach. There are certain people in our population who I think would get a lot out of that.
Well, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, there will be more to this. Even if this is following the White Vision character that we met in WandaVision, right? Like, you will need a key, like a Falcon to his Winter Soldier or whatever, right? Like,
well, that's why in the video I go into the fact that like I think they are going to be using elements from Tom King's Vision series, which they already started to do a bit in WandaVision. It's not just going to be Vision. I think he's going to be building his family, the family that, he saw the other one experience inside the Hex. And he's like, oh, this is my purpose, is to be the father of a family unit. So a lot of people believe that Elizabeth Olsen, if she does show up in the show, might be playing Virginia, the synthezoid wife of Vision from the Tom King Vision series, and that they'll have 2 kids, Viv and Vin. And Grim Reaper gets involved and does horrible things to poor young Viv. Poor Viv. And then Virginia just goes crazy. But Virginia, it's not just like a completely different character. It's basically Wanda in synthezoid form. Wanda gives as a gift.
She's also all white, and the kids are all white.
They stand in front of a picket fence.
My all-white family.
Yeah.
The weird, robot lines or whatever, yeah.
So I think they might be doing something like that, and it's going to be like, remember how we saw Paul Bettany as the of the... We saw Paul Bettany as the...
You can't say
I can't. Apparently, you cannot say the name of this beloved sitcom actor. And Evan warned me about this. We just aren't allowed to say that. So we're going to have to clip it out now. Oh, we need to put signs up. That is his actual name, but a beloved sitcom actor of a certain Mary Tyler Moore spinoff series from 1961.
Danny Thomas. We'll just say Danny Thomas.
From the first episode of WandaVision, when he plays that goofy sitcom dad, that might be what this show.
That would be fun.
It's kind of creepy because they're synthezoids, but it's following those steps. And then Ultron could be playing the role of the Grim Reaper as kind of the patriarch, the Theseus to the ship of Theseus, coming back to claim what is his.
I like that. That is fun. Yeah.
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 Oh, go ahead.
I want to ask you guys. It's really hard for my brain to reconcile how these 3 shows fit together in a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the pitches we've heard for Ironheart, where it's it's about technology, but it's also about magic. And I think Marvel is leaning into this fusion between magic and technology. WandaVision did such a good job of that. Agatha doesn't seem like it's about technology at all.
Yeah.
So what do you think, if all 3 of these titles are part of a trilogy of one meta series, what do you think the theme of that series is? What is the core idea if you were to pitch that as a series from the outset?
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how Agatha goes because, it felt like there was a very clear, beautiful theme in WandaVision, right?
What is grief if not love?
There it is, right? It was all about processing grief and, when you process grief as a omega level mutant or whatever, right? It has some pretty wild external impacts. How Agatha plays into that. Maybe once we have the 2 dots, we will then get the vector of what might be pointing towards. Well, and even you mentioning Grim Reaper, who in the comics, right, is he the brother of Wonder Man?
Yes, he's the brother to Simon Williams.
Yes. Now we don't know if that'll be the case. We don't know whatever, but we're getting a Wonder Man series.
Right.
So could that even be not a 4th kind of, but maybe there's a little overlap to that. And that series even helps set up this Vision series as the big payoff in this whole arc.
I think there's also a natural, with what's going on right now in society with AI in general, the fact that, the government created this iteration of Vision, and they consider it their property, they consider him their property, so they've got to at some point be either a distant threat, a threat that's easily nullified, but they think they own him. And so I think maybe what is personhood could come into this a little bit. What does it mean to be an autonomous being?
Autonomy and agency.
Yeah. Are AI able to grieve? We saw this with Alien Romulus, the character of Andy, how they denied his suffering and grief because it was from a synthezoid. It was from a synthetic person, and our heart just went out to him. I'm reminded of WALL-E, Pixar's WALL-E. Robots, are they capable of love? And the idea of defining love as what is grief if not love persevering? I think you're right, Zach. I think that is going to be the theme of the show because the Ship of Theseus debate, which is really the origin point of the White Vision spinoff character. The way Scarlet Vision answered that paradox was maybe they're defining what makes you you, and the rot is what makes you you, is what he said. The worn life experience, the trials you've gone through, the erosion and the weathering you've faced. So he's basically saying the grief is what makes Wanda herself. So she doesn't need to deny her grief. Our grief is what lets us know that we're still alive. And I think that is going to be the theme carried on. Like, that was a big awakening, the cathartic realization of White Vision, is that, like, what makes me is the ability to grieve, and that rot is what will make me the truest version of Vision. So if I can think of one thematic through line through all of that, between what is grief and not love persevering and the ship of Theseus debate, it's that idea of, like, our scars, our emotional trauma is something that we don't need to be ashamed of.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Also, just you talking about this makes me think 2026, Avengers Doomsday year, right? Do we see White Vision, RDJ's Doom, be like, I'm kind of like the thing that was kind of created by the other version of you. It's like the stepson and the stepdad or something like that. It could be like a very strange, interesting confrontation. I mean, I guess similar to like White Vision, Ultron. There's a little like weird father-son, but not quite. Evan, I cut you off 45 minutes ago. Is that still relevant?
Yeah, I mean, what you were saying is exactly what I was gonna say. Like, you know, can Vision, a poop, I guess we'll be calling him now because he's a certified number 2. Can a poop sustain a show? Right? It's gonna be a real testament to people's like love of this character and what you guys have been saying. Like, what does this show do to bring together these previous elements or like the existing state of the MCU in this kind of show to make it work for a Vision that we actually don't know very well.
Even like who's the antagonist of the show? I mean, thinking back to WandaVision, that obviously was a show largely built around Wanda, but like you had Vision, you had Agatha, you had Monica, right? Like Jimmy Woo popping in there for a couple fun scenes, right? Like it was a nice fleshed out full cast. It wasn't like such a solo feature. So it'll be really interesting to see what other characters they flesh out around Vision.
I also wanted to get your guys' thoughts really quick before we talk more about the trilogy stuff. But in general, like, you know, Eric, you go into this a little bit in your video, but how do we think Ultron comes back? Do we think this is actually Ultron? Do we think this is a vision, no pun intended, of Ultron, you know?
I mean, wasn't there always that, like, unpaid off head that we saw? Like, that Ultron head that was like, hey, if there's any bit of Ultron surviving anywhere, he can come back. So I think that that's like the most logical way to come back. I do think they'll think of something slightly more creative than that. Not to, I mean, if that's what it ends up being, I apologize. But like, there's always been this thread of like, oh look, a little robot head. Like, let's keep it as a paperweight on our desk. Oh crap, it's red now. Like, it's always been that threat.
I mean, they kept Arnim Zola in like an 8-bit bunker for 50 years. You telling me they can't keep the most powerful AI the world's ever known somewhere in a jump drive, you know?
Yeah, he lawnmower manned himself. He like, the last thing we didn't see was he made all the phones ring and all. That's a timely reference for all you 41-year-olds out there that remember Lawnmower Man.
The video does go into, Peter Parker found the Ultron head in the DODC vault. That's one option. We didn't really actually see the moment Ultron got vaporized. They cut to a wide shot.
True.
When you rewatch Age of Ultron, like specifically Vision had like a mental tally track of they were able to locate every Ultron sentry in the vicinity, and so that's where he's like, you were the last one. Like I think when Joss Whedon was shooting that scene, that was the intent, that was supposed to be the last Ultron, even though it meant the end of the Age of Ultron. In the video, I kind of speculate how like it would make the most sense for, if it did exist, it would have to be someplace that was like Marvel fans consider to be a legitimate like hiding spot for Ultron. So like an air-gapped computer device in Tony Stark's compound somewhere. And that's why I was like, oh, Deadpool and Wolverine, it could be on the shelf right in Tony Stark's office, where it's like right there, and it's just in this air-gapped head, this programming head, so that at any point he can look at it and be like, hey, and he just bats the lights off on it or something. Or if he needs to use it or experiment on it, if it was like one way that he could undo the snap. You know, that's a thought experiment. If Tony Stark had to unleash Ultron, if that meant that Ultron could compute a way to undo the snap, would that have been worth it for Tony to do?
Also, Tony Stark is so like you can't imagine that guy ever destroying technology completely. Like he's always in his head, like, oh, I can improve upon this. It's a killer monster now, but in 10 years I could improve upon it.
Yeah, I just need to fix the code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past him to have saved something and convinced himself this is safe. It's safe. It's like got all these safeguards around it.
Did Tony maybe use Ultron tech to do that inverted Mobius strip? Like that's a program that he used to like think that like 5D, 6D way to be able to think that way. It's otherwise impossible for one man to think that way.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Did Tony Stark use AI to kill Thanos? That's the title of this video.
Also, is there ChatGPT in the MCU? Do they have what's the video AI software?
Midjourney.
Midjourney or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I also like, even if it's not the title of the show, Vision Quest, right? Like, there's so many things that could be the quest that Vision's going on. One MacGuffin could be like, somewhere out there, somebody has all of the Ultron code. I've got to get to it before it falls into the wrong hands or whatever. The quest could also be like, I got to find Wanda. The quest could be, I've got to find my own humanity for a synthezoid or whatever, right? Like, there's so many journeys that he could be going on, and probably multiple ones at the same time, right? Yeah.
The Ultron code might even come from his own head, right? Like when Scarlet Vision reactivated him and reminded him of his origin with Ultron, maybe there's some piece of Ultron code that exists now in this form that was just like, a dead man switch that's just deep in the wiring of Vision that just got activated in that moment. And that's how Ultron could remanifest. Gears inchworming into other gears, and then
Oh no!
yeah, sorry, I don't
Before we move on
No
to-
strings to hold me up. Okay. Yes, Evan.
Before we move on to some how this trilogy idea could come into play, do you guys want to hear some final title pitches?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, Jalgar202 saying Better Call Vision.
We're just taking TV shows and adding Vision to them?
Christian Unpronounceable has said Blurred Vision.
Ooh,
Blurred
yeah. Blurred
And that's BLERD as like a contra to White Vision, Black Nerd Vision instead of like. Okay.
All right, Zach, moving on.
Blurred. I didn't know how it was spelled, Evan. I was asking clarifying questions.
Okay, Rough Landing Tony saying Vision on deck. Also saying, pitching merge the Vision and Wonder Man shows as the protagonist and antagonist of the show, which I do think could be interesting.
Oh, that
and I
is
do think, Zach, you
interesting.
brought it up before. I think there will be some Wonder Man crossover. You got to think.
I would hope.
West Coast
Yeah.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a good time to introduce a character that not a lot of people are familiar with.
Yeah. And to clarify, when I said Vision Wanda as my pitch, I was referring to how Wanda's nickname for Vision was Viz. So Viz in Wanda.
Get out of
Oh.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. First NC-17 Marvel property. I would love it if the first full frontal we get in a Marvel property is a robot.
Yeah.
He talked about how he had a big purple dick. That was like part. He said that in a junket at some point. He knew that that's where this was all headed.
Bettany did?
Bettany said it. Roll the clip.
Are you asking about my genitalia?
Yes, I am.
Genitalia.
What, it's
He can choose. He can change his density. With a little imagination, that should answer the question.
What color is said?
He's purple,
Yep. Okay.
right? I mean,
Wow, what a clip.
All right, Brian.
Now wait, was he talking about the character or himself?
Yeah. That's
I don't know if he knew.
He's like,
Great question.
I've been waiting to get in to see a doctor for quite a while, but I do have a big purple
My
dick.
Marvel schedule is really, I don't have time for a
Hey,
doctor's
him and Jennifer
appointment.
Connelly have been married for a long time, okay?
The real big purple dick was Thanos. We all know that.
That's right.
Okay?
Purple dick was the friends we made along the way.
That's right.
Ben,
Throw in the chat what your big purple dick is. Okay.
Bez XQED, Moose Jiffago 9 saying Gone Vision. Like Gone Fishing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And Drazito saying Vision Pool and no Wanderine, which I like.
Oh, I like it.
Very meta.
Okay. Yeah, so this idea, right? A trilogy between these three shows, it makes sense on the base level of these characters, right? And we've talked about the themes. Do you think they could apply this treatment to other shows that they have on the slate, you know, or like what would that mean if it applied to other Disney Plus series?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, do we low key get like second seasons that aren't called second seasons of other things, like a Moon Knight or a Miss Marvel or something like that, right? Where it's not called Moon Knight season 2, maybe it's called Midnight Suns, or maybe it's called whatever, right? But like we get that character back.
Yeah.
I think I just saw something. I cannot remember where it was, and this is probably not real. But talking about how to get Jessica Jones back in, and I think like with Daredevil coming in now, and it being all the same actors, and Daredevil did interact with Jessica Jones and with Iron Fist. I think like eventually they will bring all of those over, and even Defenders. So I think it would be cool if it was like, oh, this is like Daredevil, sort of like Daredevil 2.0 season 1, and then we get like a little Jessica Jones action in there, and then a little Luke Cage slipped in.
Almost like the Disney Plus era will be the reverse of the Netflix era, where they gave them solo series that built to a Defenders.
Yes.
If we kind of reintroduce everybody in the Daredevil, and then that's kind of the Defender season almost, and then you send them off to whatever popular characters they want to give solo series. Yeah, that's interesting.
There's still a lot of love for all those actors and characters out there. So if they were going to do it, now's the time.
Definitely. It seems like they're doing a similar thing with Young Avengers, right? Like we had Ms. Marvel, and then we had Hawkeye, and then the two of them met in the post-credit scene. So don't you think we could get a trilogy of shows that way and have a third one that's just like a Young Avengers show that like puts all these characters together?
Yeah. Another Young Avenger, you mean? And then the two show up at the end, and they're like, we're putting a team together.
Right. Yeah. I think there's some version of that works. What I would love though is like to take the Werewolf by Night special presentation, take Moon Knight, the 6 episodes of Moon Knight. Let's do like special presentations for other members of the Midnight Suns. Like get a special presentation for Ghost Rider, get a special presentation for Mephisto, and then like he's like the villain of it, and then we have either like a film, like a Blade Midnight Suns film, or just like if you want to do a series of that, I'd watch that too.
I want an October Halloween offering every year, right?
Yes.
It's so. I mean, this year it seems like it's going to be Agatha, right? That's going to sort of fill that void. But like, truly, Werewolf by Night is one of my favorite of any of the Marvel things. I think it's so underrated, and maybe not a lot of people saw it. But I watched both versions, and it's so good.
It's really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can even see, and maybe like Marvel might be attempting this, but things like strikes and COVID and whatever are getting in the way. But like, if the beginning of the year is like street level hero time, that's Echo, that's Daredevil, that's whatever. Late in the year is scary supernatural time, Agatha, Werewolf by Night, whatever. Like, and then in between, maybe you get some animation, you get an X-Men 97, a What If, or whatever. That's a fun cadence,
also,
right?
it sort of feels like the old days of network TV, when it's like you're gonna get a Thanksgiving episode, you're gonna get a Christmas episode. If Marvel's version of that is like, here's an hour and a half long horror movie that we're like, it's every October you're gonna watch, and I would love that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
What do you guys think? Like, do you want to see a season 3 of Loki out there? Would you want a season 3?
Is that even a way to do season 3 of Loki? If like you don't call it Loki season 3?
Oh yeah, you do a Ramona Renslayer spinoff or something.
Yeah, or it's just jet skis. It's just like
Eastbound and Down.
It's The Office, but it's shot at Mobius's jet ski store. It's mostly about employee interactions. It's like that Shane Gillis Netflix show.
I mean, I'm seeing mostly people just saying season 2 Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat.
We all want it.
Mick Jack texting agent of the TVA. That's a good way to do Loki. It's just we've talked about this before, but just with the TVA, whoever's in charge,
so
gonna
many
be
wacky adventures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Creature of the Week or whatever. Like, hey, this week it's 1921 or whatever.
Truly, that's tailor made for basically like a procedural that you've got right there. It's like, oh God, in 1865, this bad thing happened.
Law and Order TVA? Come on.
Quantum Leap a little bit.
Yeah, Quantum Leap.
Great.
That's nice.
In the multiverse justice system, the people are represented by two equally yet important time variant authorities.
Every episode ends with just a couple of characters eating a slice of pie, being like, wow, what an adventure this week. Huh? You know, that's how all Law and Order episodes end, right?
Yeah, they'll eat pie and say, what an adventure.
Blue Bloods.
Nobody can confirm. Nobody's ever seen an episode of Blue Bloods. They're in the chat. Is Blue Bloods real? Lastly, Marvel uploaded and deleted a video last week celebrating its 85 years in business. It included a lot of shots of upcoming properties, stuff that has been teased or shown at Comic-Con or D23. And we got some super quick shots. Again, this video's already been deleted, so that's how you know it's good. What is...
We got the Thunderbolts up there, the Daredevil looking over his shoulder. We got Ironheart going like
Ironheart.
flying through a city street, and then Red Hulk. Baby. Yeah.
I'm so curious why they deleted this. I think it was accidentally uploaded by an intern. And,
right.
And they were like, no!
100%. But also like the fact that it's still not back up. It's been not a week yet, but close to.
New Rockstars has made 2 different videos about this already, and they're still just like, it's no, don't show them. Is it possible that it hasn't been 85 years, and we all just haven't done the math yet? Can we do the math? I'm sure it is 85 years. I'm sure it is.
There's currently a lawsuit in the
1927.
Southern District of New York over how old Marvel is.
Evan's looking it up. No, I think it was probably one of these things like maybe there's certain shots that haven't been approved by everyone. They probably jumped the gun and uploaded it. It didn't get uploaded to Marvel's official YouTube channel. It kind of came through one of these back channels.
Wait, where was it uploaded?
Maybe Twitter first or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it is 85 years though. I just
And the 85 years is
Glad we
obviously for the comics. And, you know, like, Marvel Comics and Marvel Disney are related but distinctly separate companies, right? Like, obviously the film studio is not celebrating 85 years, even though they're using assets from the film studio in this video. So that, I wouldn't doubt if there was a little friction there between the two.
About
one hand,
rights.
talking to the other there. I don't know.
Interesting.
I will say when that video premiered, I like screenshotted the end of the video because they were basically just like, all these are upcoming properties. They're not out yet. And also Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters now. And it was just like this weird disclaimer to be like, it's all coming soon, but watch the other thing. That
Also, an interesting mix there, right? Like it's 2 Disney Plus properties and 2 theatrical releases, right? But not mentioning the most upcoming Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along.
There was a shot of Agatha in there. It just wasn't
not
new.
in
We
that
had just
not in
seen it
that quartet.
before. Yeah. I think part of it was like some of the things in there are stuff that was exclusively shown to attendees at Comic-Con and D23, and there's probably specific marketing plans about releasing those shots, and that just includes that particular angle of Red Hulk, that particular angle of Thunderbolts, that particular shot of Riri Williams, and I just think like they're like contractually we're not supposed to show anything yet, so that's why they just.
I feel like it would make more sense for them just to say that than make us like wonder and talk about like, you know, are there? But then I guess they haven't been owning up to a lot lately.
Yeah.
Over at Marvel.
Yeah, there's all this Cloak and Dagger. Do we think Marvel...
Wait, they're putting out Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah.
bring it back.
Cloak and Dagger Easter egg in X-Men 97, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Do we think, like, at this point, Marvel would benefit from just being a bit more transparent? I'm just comparing it to the way James Gunn is, like, marketing Superman.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there are some set leaks that are getting out there. Yes, he's been very vocal about dispelling wrong rumors. And he'll go out when these scoopers will say stuff, he'll reply and be like, wrong, incorrect, and he'll give the receipts showing why they're incorrect. And I guess we'll have to wait and see until Superman comes out to see how the expectations have been properly managed. But I find something refreshing about like a studio head and a director just being aware of what is being said and leaning into it and just being the source, because otherwise I think sometimes the rumors can get away from the studio, and then you get situations like where there was like concept art of Doctor Doom for a post-credit scene of Black Panther Wakanda Forever that was not part of the movie. It was just like concept art that was made for the movie, and I don't know if Doom ever was going to be part of Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's harder. I think like James Gunn is given total creative control, so it's easier for him to like not have to check with 10 lawyers and just fire off a tweet and being like, you're a dum-dum, that's wrong. Whereas it feels like at Marvel, they're like, anytime anyone tweets anything, it needs 15 execs to sign off on it.
Well, and maybe, the difference there is like he is the Kevin Feige of DC, right? He's also always been a very online, very Twitter-y guy. As opposed to like Kevin Feige, though, he gives a lot of interviews, is not like a Twitter guy.
Yeah.
He would be the one, because like, the individual directors and showrunners and creatives in the Marvel, world don't have that degree of agency to be able to talk about their projects before they're released, right? It would have to come from the top.
Yeah.
And he's not been that guy, right?
hasn't.
He loves giving like kind of coy, cute responses in interviews and stuff.
And generally he's pretty good at it, but then he'll say things like, yes, we've known for years who bought Avengers Tower, and you'll find out in a year. It's like, will people care in a year? This stuff with like the asterisk for Thunderbolts. There's all this stuff where like time and time again, they keep being coy about it, but then when the answer is revealed, it's not that exciting. So it's like, why don't you just tell us?
Maybe that's why they're doing it. Maybe he knows the answer won't be that exciting, so he's like, might as well keep it in your mind for a year as something that could be exciting, but is ultimately a letdown.
He's like, let me let New Rockstars get a couple more videos out about this before we have a definitive answer. Yeah, Evan?
I mean, I also think it's like a difference of expectations, right? Like Marvel was so open, right, about the slate after Endgame, and we were all like, whoa! And now, things are like not happening as to our expectations, so we're extra curious, whereas DC is like fumbled the bag so much that James Gunn is like, I can go to bat for this one thing, and that's all you're gonna think about right now, just this one thing until...
It's easier when there's one movie.
It's all pivoting on that. It's also like, for them, all press is good press for DC, right?
And if DC does anything well or right, I feel like people are like, oh, look at you, good for you. Whereas like Marvel, it's like, it's still not as good as Infinity War.
Right, yeah, definitely the expectations are way higher for this one. I mean, a Superman movie, arguably, there are like insane expectations that they gotta top, but like, it's a new universe, so I think people are giving him a lot of leeway. But I do think that like, people always compare it to like the way Christopher Nolan is so secretive on his sets, but like he's secretive because he knows the entire film. He like knows the whole script. And so like there's a reason behind the secrecy. He doesn't want to like tell people exactly what's going to happen in the movie. He's very careful about the trailers. With Marvel, it doesn't seem like the secrecy is hiding a specific plan. I think it's hiding the absence of a plan most of the time.
But have you guys noticed online, I've like more so than ever, I've noticed backlash to like people spoiling and leaking things. I saw a lot of people being like, holy crap, like give it a week before you post things from Deadpool and Wolverine. And they were specifically pissed because people involved in the film were reposting things. And they were like, if you're the director of the film, do not post a spoiler like 2 days into it being released. Wait a little while. So I think you can't win. I think if you're a perpetually online person and you're like, look at this guy solved this thing, here's a picture of, Sabretooth with his head cut off. There are going to be people that are pissed, and if you don't confirm anything, there are going to be people that are pissed. So you can't win.
Unless you choose not to be on social media.
Let's go.
The only way to win is not to
stay on YouTube. Stay on Twitch.
YouTube.
Delete everything else.
Agreed. Yes.
There's a debate going on right now in the chat that who in the chat would be Kevin Feige if he had a fake account.
Christian unpronounceable. Is that you, Feige?
Do you think that there's a scooper account that's just Feige?
Well, I mean, there's a real world example of this. The head of HBO, Casey Bloys, it came out last year that he would demand that his assistants go on Twitter under burner accounts and attack anybody that gave an HBO show negative reviews. Wow. This is like, you can Google this, but like the head of the network was like, that guy gave us 2 stars, get his ass. You know what I mean? Like and like super famous people do this all the time. Kevin Durant, one of the wealthiest, most, best basketball players in the world, has like been busted multiple times having burner accounts and like, some 14-year-old kid that's like, that guy sucks. And he'll like, go after him, or whatever. Like,
we have to do.
I'm outside your window right now, kid.
We got to do a Burn the Burners episode for the Breakroom. Can we do it? Because there's so many celebrities who have them. So we know Iman Vellani has a burner. Joe Locke has admitted to having a burner and follows it. We believe there's an episode of Reply All that looked into. There's someone who follows political figures who have burner accounts. So Mitt Romney said he had a burner and said, I only follow like 11 people. And someone looked at that specific number and found Mitt Romney's burner. Pete Buttigieg might have edited his own Wikipedia article.
Hell yeah,
Look at the source where the edits came from, and they're like, we think this was Pete himself.
I mean, another sports example. The
76ers.
Yes, the Philadelphia 76ers, the general manager was eventually fired because it was discovered both he and his wife had burner accounts that were like attacking players or something like that.
What?
Like wild stuff. And like, you know, the number of people that like quasi low-key ruin their lives by because they can't not reply.
Find
right?
your burner, you guys. They'll always find
But
it.
it also speaks to, no matter the stakes, it is really hard, to Eric's point, to see people, especially people putting forth wrong information, right? Like putting out lies out there, and you want to respond, but you also know if you respond as yourself, that will only give more oxygen to the lie, right? And so like you want to create burner accounts to like attack these people or to back up your own stance or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Again, stay on YouTube, stay on Twitch, delete everything else.
Delete it all.
Go back to the late 1990s when no showrunners or directors were on Twitter, and you just had to handwrite them letters and hope it got there.
Burn the burners.
That's right. Yeah, I choose to do all of my trolling and whatever through edible arrangements. So if you get a basket of pineapples and apples and chocolate-covered strawberries for me
that's a
that
good
then
one.
says your show fucking sucks, you know, okay? You know.
And a shout out to the person who gave us edible arrangements.
Yes, that's right.
We appreciate
We did. When the deep dive launched, a fan
We
sent
did get
an edible arrangement to the office.
nice.
It was also extremely scary because we didn't know who it came from, and like
I'd
we
eat
assumed
it.
it was safe. But
I would eat it.
I ate all of it. I ate so many bites of
I
melon.
love an edible.
Num 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 num. Send me food. Just send me food. I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
Sealed, preferably sealed.
Nope, nope. Loose food. Just send me a plate full of crumbs.
Just ground beef.
Fistfuls of mashed potatoes in a little Ziploc
I mean,
bag.
honestly, a little insight here in New Rockstars. If you sent Eric something equivalent to a Chipotle burrito bowl, dog, he's yours forever, okay? All these people, they're like, break down this, break down that. I swear, if you send him a burrito bowl, it was like,
And
break down this.
sour cream, he'll do whatever you want.
That's right. That's right. I will break down. What's one that they got mad at me for not covering? I will finish.
Oh, the Daredevil Netflix.
Well, we're gonna
breakdowns?
do that.
Yeah,
We're doing.
yeah,
You don't have to feed me with Chipotle for that.
The PO box is gonna smell so bad. It's gonna be
so
sitting.
good.
All that food's gonna be sitting there.
You're gonna be stewing in my juices.
The person who sent the edible arrangements is in the live Twitch chat right now. Kiana Chanel, thank you so much. Hopefully I said that
It was
correct.
extremely sweet of you.
really very
Nice.
nice.
We did eat the hell out of those.
We did.
Out of that
Gobbled
fruit.
it all
We
up.
did. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
what a
On
ride.
that note. Our PO box. Feel free to send any. We check it about once a week. To include
send
a lot of dry ice.
Send all the ingredients to make a burrito bowl in like cans. All of you can coordinate to send a different can of something. And we can make a
Yeah,
live.
like MRE style burrito bowls. Yeah.
They're gonna send us the items to build a bomb. It's gonna be like Contact, where they were worried that they were sending
We
us a
did.
weapon.
I'm trying to remember what it was. We did once get a delivery, but it went to our PO box, and like the post office called us, and we're like, you received a package that's leaking all over the floor of the post office.
Oh no!
I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a fan sent us something, and it might have just been like a bottle of booze or something like that that
okay.
broke.
Yeah.
But like we literally got in trouble with the post office.
it was whoever was sent us the thing from Texas, I think. It was the
Yes.
peach tea. One of the peach teas didn't make it, but everything else made it, and it was great.
It was very good.
Didn't make it.
All right,
Wait to take them out back.
Dear,
Put them down.
dearest Martha, one of your peach trees did not make the journey.
I don't want to kill the peach tea.
You won't be man. You can have peach tea. Well, thank you for sending it.
Tune in next week as the Ballad of the Peach Tea continues.
It's a 5-year ongoing saga.
That's it for today.
That's it.
That's
For
it.
today.
I don't know why I said it like that. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Whether you're watching on YouTube or live on Twitch, we appreciate you. Other things. Oh, so tomorrow on the Breakroom, again, we'll be doing a live reaction to the Sonic 3 trailer. There'll also be a breakdown on the New Rockstars channel. Other things folks should look out for on the Breakroom channel this week, Evan?
Yeah, Wednesday. What other actors should come back to the MCU?
Oh.
We'll talk about it. We'll make
okay.
some pitches, some suggestions on some other actors that could return and that we'd want to see return.
Sounds like a fight's gonna break out.
Ooh, a good fight.
Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke.
The time's right. Yes, and then on the New Rockstars channel, we've also got a lot of really fun content. planned.
Yeah. We got the Sonic breakdown. Jessica's going to be doing that for us this week. We're going to try our best to cover Rings of Power. It's just we haven't been getting advanced screeners. They're going to drop 3 episodes at once on Thursday, so we'll get to it when we can. I'm really excited for that show. I might be the only person that knew
I enjoyed the first season. I'm excited for that show. It's also a 3-day weekend right after it drops, which maybe is. I wonder if that was some of their logic of like, we're dropping 3 episodes, but it's a long weekend, so people have time to kind of consume it at their own pace. Yeah. But it's also going to take us a while to consume it at our own pace and do the kind of breakdown we want to do. So sometime next week, probably?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Rings of Power is so good. Like, when Rings of Power and House of the Dragon season 1 were both happening, everyone's like, House of the Dragon's better. And I'm like, I fucking love Rings of Power. The music, the songwriting on the show.
And they're fun in that they're both
so good.
They're both these fantasy franchises that could not be more different tonally.
Yeah.
In a nice way. Sometimes you feel like a French dip and sometimes you want tuna salad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one's which?
That's for you to decide.
Okay.
Well, we know, moisture. House of Dragons got the moisture. That's a French dip. Let's be honest, okay? Hanging dong, that's a French dip, okay?
Yeah, you're right.
A French dip that watched its children die.
That's right. It's a soggy show.
Soggy show.
The God's eye is all au jus. Okay. But I'm excited for it. And I don't know if anybody else believes this, and it could just be a good trailer. I really think the trailer for season 2 of Rings of Power makes me feel like they heard some of the criticism. They're changing course a little bit. A lot of the characters that maybe weren't as engaging are not as emphasized in the trailer. Mm-hmm. They're giving us Balrogs. They're giving us more wizards, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, like we get it. You didn't love these weird pseudo hobbits as much as we thought you would, so we're gonna give you some of the other stuff you might enjoy more.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get as much of the Harfoots. But I loved the Harfoots.
Yeah, they were fun.
They at the beginning I was like, fuck these Harfoots. I'm not interested. But by the end, I think, come to me, lands far away. I cry when I think of that song. It's so freaking good.
It's beautiful.
I want to know what everyone else is excited about. I'm excited about Penguin. I know it's not coming up yet, but I'm excited.
Just a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
Very short.
I'm excited about it.
Penguin. Yeah, we got this nice trifecta of Rings of Power, Penguin, and Agatha all along.
Yeah.
Probably something for everybody. If you just want
yeah.
Sopranos set in the DC universe, you got Penguin. If you want some fairies and wizards and magical stuff, maybe you have 2 shows that might satisfy that, actually, now that I think
And this
about
week, a Terminator anime series on Netflix.
Ooh, okay.
Would be cool. Who was
All
asking?
right.
Yeah.
Not sure.
I'm in.
All right, hell yeah. Okay, follow Breakroom on all platforms. Again, delete your social media. But before you do that, follow Breakroom on all those. And thank you so much. Stay tuned, subscribe on YouTube for all the things to come. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.